Hello, everyone in program evaluation. Welcome to week 8. Today, we are going to go over a number of different things that cut across the last several weeks. So bear with me a minute while I pull up my PowerPoint presentation. I'm gonna walk you through this. Okay, so our topics this week are twofold. So we're going to go over client satisfaction survey and sampling and really focusing on probability and non-probability sampling. And I'm going to try to make some real life applications to what might be useful to you now, what might be useful to you in the future when you start your full-time social work careers. So last week we focused on formative and process evaluation, and we really wanted to talk about how to understand how they fit into the overall plan. So like I said earlier, most of you for your final program evaluation will focus on an outcome evaluation. However, if any of you are like, I am super jazzed about the idea of doing a formative or a process evaluation instead of an outcome evaluation, please contact me and I can help walk you through that because it does change a little bit of the assignment. 99% of my students like to do what's known as an outcome evaluation, where we're focusing on increasing and certain aspects of the program while decreasing certain aspects of the program or effects within the population for an outcome evaluation. But every now and then I have a student that's like, I need to do a formative or process evaluation. You all are doing a great job on the discussion board this week. So what I like to do on discussion board weeks is I usually just like to give you your points, and then I like to get into the discussion board and join the conversation. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of today, which is Monday. So look forward to seeing me in there and responding to your feedback. And I love to see the interaction between all of you. And lastly, we have our survey, and the results are in. And wow, I just want to say I am blown away by your feedback this week. I want to thank you so much for being such an awesome cohort of students. I feel really lucky to have you all in class. Not only did you give me some really great and helpful feedback and compliments to encourage me to keep going because I'm really tired like all of you are, but you also gave me some awesome suggestions about what I can improve. So I just wanted to share some of the results. You can go into these more in depth within the PowerPoint, which I'm going to post this week. But I wanted to highlight some of the themes that I saw from the text. So things that helped your learning. So what's fascinating is that I'm learning we are all such diverse learners. And so what I'm picking up from what you're saying is that a lot of you like to learn in different ways. So really continuing to do multiple forms of media. So written communication, videos, soft chalk. Some of you are bigger fans of it than some of you are. But just having different ways to engage seems to be what's helping what engage you in your learning. What you really like is how well organized the course is, and you really like in-depth and timely feedback. So I am going to continue to work hard to deliver that in a timely fashion for you. What hindered your learning is that some of you really despise soft chalks. What's challenging for me in this course is that this is a part of a sequence. So I actually teach with a core group of online instructors. And in order to really do something that's quality control driven, we really do use some of the same core teaching materials. And then we put our own spins on it through weekly videos and through our interaction with you all. So I can't really change much about the soft chalks at this point, but I will definitely bring your feedback to the larger core group of teachers that I coordinate this course with. So some of you are struggling with these videos, and some of you like more written communication, which is more direct. What I would suggest is, I really see these weekly videos as more being like a complement to the course, but the course should really be standalone and the instructions should be clear through each of the steps. So if that is not happening through each week, please contact me and I will figure out different ways to maybe give you more written material rather than these videos every week. I am flexible. I really want to help you learn the best way you can. Others of you like the videos, so it's really hard to know what to do other than to just offer a lot of options. But I really appreciate the feedback on this. And this is why I also like to post the PowerPoint every week so that you can actually go through the steps as well. So what suggestions do you have to improve the course so it better supports your learning? So again, you all gave such wonderful compliments on this. Again, like really emphasizing the value of positive and negative feedback. One great suggestion that you had is having more synchronous or group only synchronous times assigned. So I am going to do 3 synchronous sessions, but I need to highlight the fact that these are optional synchronous sessions. So our next one is tomorrow, and we're going to focus on the logic model. And I'm also going to record this so it's available for everyone. The reason why we can't do more synchronous sessions in this class is because this is actually what's considered to be an asynchronous class. And we have students in this class that are overseas that can't attend all the synchronous classes because of time differences, and many of you are intentionally taking this class because you really can't lock into certain synchronous times. So what we're going to do for this is really make sure that I record our synchronous session, which is completely optional, tomorrow night, and make it available to everybody so that it is equal. What do you do to help yourself learn in this course? And I think this is a really great question because I want you all to support each other through amazing ideas. So you shared such great ideas that have even helped me better organize myself. I love that some of you are relying on organization, printing out the syllabi and beginning of the year, schedule out every single session and every single due date. That's amazing. I also love the technique that person 2 said, which said, really allowing curiosity to move you through your research project and your program evaluation. And I think that's such a great idea because those of you who are choosing topics that you're passionate about for your needs assessment, logic model, program evaluation, that's going to help engage you in your learning. Others of you try to reach out to colleagues and me when you feel stuck. Please keep doing that. It's very challenging sometimes to create an online support system without an online platform and education. And I just want to say I've had such valuable and deep conversations with those of you who have reached out. So if you feel stuck, continue to do so, and also relying on your classmates. So what prevents you and hinders you from learning in this course? And majority of you actually talked about things in your personal life. And some of you actually recommended that I not post some of the personal details that you shared. But things like, follow through, finding healthy work-life balance, rereading course material, losing focus due to how challenging online formats can be, just trying to fight and battle procrastination. So thank you for just being honest about those, real conditions that impact our work. What could you do to improve your learning in this course? And I love the accountability that you all took in responding. Taking more time out each week was a suggestion, really setting boundaries with family and loved ones, knowing that most of you are in your final year and this is not going to be forever, but you do need to set boundaries to complete your master's degree because you are so close and you are almost there. So really trying to continue to engage classmates on discussion boards, offering feedback to each other. Your feedback to each other has been incredible on the discussion board. I mean, some of you have so much lived experience and expertise and are offering each other critique and encouragement, and it's just been incredible. Some other comments that really didn't fall into the boundaries of the survey, but I really appreciated is that you said that, I'm doing a great job. And some of you said I'm your favorite professor, which just, I can't tell you means the world to me. And you enjoy the energy and upbeat presentations. And I'm really trying to deliver you amazing content. So I just appreciate the feedback. It really sincerely touched me. And it also made me realize how lucky I am to be in a learning community with all of you. One of you actually said that something that you needed from this class is that you want to understand what a Gantt chart looks like compared to a logic model. And I was like, genius. Yes, we need this for this class. I love Gantt charts. I love logic models. They definitely serve two different purposes. So I wanted to share with you what a Gantt chart is really quick for those of you who are curious, and really compare and contrast it to a logic model. So both logic model and Gantt chart, what they have in common with each other is that they help us stay on track, and they help us lay out a plan for our program evaluation or our research project in general. How they differ is that you can see a Gantt chart is really just a timeline that helps us keep on track with our tasks. So you can see there's tasks A through Z on the left-hand side of the column, and then it's really a calendar. And then, for example, let's say recruitment of our participant population should happen between January and March. Let's say transcription should happen between February and March. Let's say data analysis will happen in April. So this is just a way of keeping track of tasks that can really transfer across many different settings. You could even do this for like family planning, house projects, anything. The way it differs from a logic model is that there's no inherent logical framework imposed on this. So think of the acronym IAOO. So we're looking at inputs, activities that then lead to outputs and outcomes, what's going to increase based on the implementation of your program, what's going to decrease. So that is not represented in a Gantt chart. It's only represented in a logic model. So there's no inherent logical structure, no cause and effect in a Gantt chart. It's purely for organizational purposes. So great question of the week. So we are actually past mid-semester now. Yes. We are on a downward slope towards Thanksgiving. And the end of semester in December. I am going to reach out to each of you individually this week. So expect an email from me in your inbox that I'm just going to give you your grade after week 8. This might carry into the weekend because some of you who needed some extra time and asked for special permission due to extenuating circumstances, I granted some extensions on your first big assessment, the needs assessment. So I just want to reach out with you through this week and through the weekend. So if you do not hear from me for whatever reason, please reach out. It's a great time to check in with you, see if you're getting everything you need from this course. And so this week in our videos, in our soft talk, we're going to go over client satisfaction, surveys, and sampling. Journal, I want you to think a little bit more about your own sampling design. So what tools are you going to use to best understand your population, to best gather the population together that you need to implement the rest of the activities for this class? And then we have an optional synchronous session where we're going to go over the logic model. We're going to workshop some of your logic models via Zoom tomorrow night. And this is Eastern time, 7 to 8, and I will record that for everybody. So I want to quickly touch on non-probability versus probability sampling designs. So I would like to first focus on non-probability sampling designs, because what I see this being is the difference between larger program evaluation versus smaller program evaluation. So I'm going to try to give some real life application here. So non-probability sample designs are also known as convenient, availability, quotive, or purposive sampling designs. They're typically within program evaluation used when you are focusing on a particular program, like a case or a smaller cluster of programs, where you're really going to reach out to every person that you think can really give you meaningful information about the implementation of your program. So in a program evaluation that I'm working on with the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians, we are interviewing every single person at the organization across various positions. And this is considered to be non-probability because we're just reaching out for everybody. And that not only focuses on convenience, but it really focuses on the purpose of the sampling strategy, which is to understand the needs and the impact of the program that we implemented across the organization. And this is a small program. So also doing probability sampling, which is done with larger systems, let's say like an entire child welfare system across the state, would not work in this case. Okay, so it is possible that another sample would produce different results or findings that might be right on. However, these are easy to construct, less involved, and less expensive. But those aren't always the reason to do non-probability sampling. Like I mentioned earlier, we are very intentional about doing non-probability sampling if we're getting at various levels of people within an organization within a closed system. Okay, but one thing you need to do when planning your program evaluation is provide a quick estimate of a group. We always need to think about, well, maybe these findings are based on the fact that this organization is culturally or contextually specific. So it might not have transferability to populations outside of, let's say, Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians Family Safety Program, for example. Okay, so a few few little bits of information about non-probability sampling. So when we compare this to probability sampling, we look at the odds of any member of the community being sampled. So let's say we have 100 people within a child welfare system, within a county. Like our chances of being selected as a participant in that study or that program evaluation would be like 1 out of 100. That is not information that is relevant or useful when looking at non-probability sampling strategies, because we just want to include everybody that is within the sample. So again, we're looking at smaller organizations, smaller programs. So an advantage of this type of sampling, non-probability, is that it's cost and time effective. So we don't have to reach out to, let's say, an entire child welfare organization, try to understand the thousands of people that are in it. We don't need to create a sampling frame. We don't need to really create a strategy for randomization to reach out to people. So again, it goes quicker. But one major disadvantage is that it's impossible to know how well you are representing the population in certain cases. If you're doing a case study, if you're focusing on one program, it actually is. But let's say you are reaching out to an entire child welfare system and then you end up just with like people that are returning your calls. You don't entirely know if the people that have returned your calls are representative of the entire population. For example, the survey that you all responded to this week. I would say like half of you responded to it. I don't technically know that the feedback that you gave me is representative of the whole class because of, a small sort of return on the survey. So I say that to mean that you all who responded are more likely to maybe be enjoying the class, more likely to be engaged, more likely to be on time. So I'm missing some folks in your feedback. So the same thing happens with non-probability sampling. Probability sampling, on the other hand, is what I mentioned earlier, is that you use random sampling techniques to create a sample. And so random sampling is considered to be a gold standard in many ways when we have a large participant population to pull from, because it helps us to be able to determine causation. So think of our logic model. One thing causes another. And if we have a large population, so for example, every single worker in child welfare within a certain state, and we randomly select our population, a large population within that already existing large population, when we then go to calculate our findings, let's say based on a survey, we can say that maybe X causes Y, and we can't do that with non-probability sampling. So using probability sampling for finding sample sizes means that you can employ statistical techniques like confidence intervals, margins of error to validate your last results. Okay, so next week, we're going to focus on single systems and group research design. So we're switching gears just a little bit. Just a friendly reminder, our logic model is due October 19th. So that's coming up fairly quickly in a little bit over a week. Tips to be successful with your logic model assignment, review session 6. I'm leaving it all open, including the resources. Look at the examples. I've also filmed a video under our assignments tab. If you like me talking you through the assignment, that might be helpful. Also review the assignment description. I've also included an example in there. Call me, email me, contact me if you have any questions. I've had some really great conversations with you all that are feeling stuck on either your needs assessment assignment or your logic model. And what you've done well so far. So somebody offered me this suggestion to tell you every week what you're doing well so far. And I love that. I want to tell you that I loved your logic models. The feedback from last week that I gave you, and I loved to see what you put as your inputs, activity, outputs, outcomes. I've not only been impressed with you that I can tell have a lot of experience in developing logic models that are taking this more traditional approach. I also liked how creative some of you were in your thinking about what could affect what in your logic models. I'm really open to innovation, so I tried to give you pretty targeted and direct feedback for those of you who took uh, less traditional approach. Just make sure you are focused on improving your outcomes as the final goal. So what do you want to increase amongst your participant population? Let's say like increasing levels of wellness. What do you want to decrease? So decreasing levels of secondary traumatic stress amongst your population. Those are just examples, but just make sure one thing locks into the other. Okay, and last but not least, practicing self-care. So I just put 10 tips to stress less. Call a friend, walk whenever you can, surround yourself with reminders. That was such a tip for success that some of you mentioned this week. Write things down to remind yourself, to tell yourself what you're doing well. Speak to yourself the way you would speak to a friend. Have some grace with yourself. Let go of what you can't control, do one thing at a time, and offer and accept help. So reach out to me if you need any help this week. Again, it is my pleasure to continue to work with you, and I will see you next week, if not before then. And I'll see you, those of you who can make it on Tuesday night. Take care. Bye.